Imagine a whole continent shaking off its chains. For 300 long years, Spain had ruled a vast empire in the Americas. This was a time of great wealth for Spain. For the people in its colonies, it was a story of control and limited freedom. By the early 1800s, things were starting to change dramatically. Ideas of liberty and revolution were spreading like wildfire from North America and from France. People in South America began to wonder, why should we be ruled by a king thousands of miles away? This question sparked a series of long and bloody wars for independence. Across the continent, brave leaders rose to the challenge. Simon Bolivar, known as the Liberator, José de San Martin. They fought grueling campaigns through jungles, over mountains, across plains. So, where exactly is this place that held the key to a nation's future? Maracaibo is a city in western Venezuela. It sits on the shore of a huge body of water, Lake Maracaibo. This isn't just any lake. It's a massive brackish bay, almost like an inland sea. Crucially, it has a narrow channel that connects it directly to the Caribbean Sea and the wider Atlantic Ocean. This connection made Maracaibo an incredibly important port. For centuries, it was a center of trade and a strategic military location for the Spanish Empire. The city and its lake were a lifeline. Whoever controlled Maracaibo controlled all trade and movement in western Venezuela. For the Spanish royalists, it was their last major stronghold. It allowed them to receive soldiers and supplies from Cuba, Puerto Rico. It was guarded by a formidable fortress, the Castillo de San Carlos de la Barra. On one side, you had the Spanish royalists. Their fleet was led by Captain Angel Laborde y Navarro. Laborde's fleet numbered around 22 ships, powerful brigs, schooners, larger vessels, and on paper, more firepower. He commanded a professional, well-equipped force. The Spanish plan? Maintain a blockade, control the entrance to Lake Maracaibo, and starve the patriots. They positioned their ships across the narrow channel. On the other side, the Venezuelan patriots of Gran Colombia, a ragtag fleet of smaller vessels, led by José Prudencio Padilla. What they lacked in heavy guns, they made up for in courage, local knowledge, and clever strategy. Padilla's fleet was smaller and more agile. Flecheras, gunboats, a few brigs and schooners. They fought for their homes, for freedom, for the future of their new nation. The day of the battle was July 24th, 1823. It was, fittingly, Simón Bolívar's 40th birthday. Admiral Padilla had spent the morning preparing his fleet and his men. He watched winds and tides, waiting for the perfect moment. At around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Padilla gave the signal to advance. A favorable breeze pushed his ships toward the waiting Spanish fleet. Captain Laborde watched the Patriot fleet approach and formed a tight line across the channel. The Spanish guns roared as the Venezuelans sailed closer. The air filled with smoke and the thunderous sound of cannonballs tearing through the water. Padilla instructed his captains to avoid a long-distance duel and to close fast. His smaller gunboats raced in, aiming to board, to turn the fight into hand-to-hand combat. The battle descended into a chaotic melee. Cutlasses, pistols, ropes, brutal hand-to-hand fighting on decks. One key moment, the Venezuelan brig Marte, commanded by Renato Belluche, relentlessly attacked the Spanish brig schooner Esperanza until it surrendered. The tactics were working. Captured ships and surrendered crews. Ship by ship, the Spanish line began to crumble. Many vessels captured, others destroyed or driven aground. Captain Laborde signaled a retreat and escaped with only a few ships to the fortress at the lake mouth. The battle was over, a stunning, total victory for the Patriots. Spanish losses were catastrophic. Dozens of officers, hundreds of sailors, many ships at the bottom of the lake. For Francisco Tomas Morales, the defeat at sea cut his land forces off. A few days later, he surrendered Maracaibo on August 3rd. The last major Spanish army on Venezuelan soil was gone. Civilians celebrated. The war, finally over after a decade of struggle. The Battle of Lake Maracaibo secured Venezuela's independence. July 24th is still celebrated as Navy Day in Venezuela. The victory sent a powerful message. South American independence was irreversible. It stands as a testament to strategy, local knowledge, and sheer determination. The final, glorious chapter that sealed a nation's birth and helped secure a continent's liberty.